to be an entrepreneur. I grew up in a tiny town in Massachusetts, and my father was in the Air Force, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. But I always had this inclination towards entrepreneurship. And in fact, I remember asking my father when I was 8 years old what the highest job was in a company. And he told me it was being a CEO. And so I remember making my first company called Pollution Solutions, which is a recycling program in my local elementary school. And I made myself CEO of that company. So from a very young age, I think I was always entrepreneurially minded. And then it really wasn't until I decided to quit my job at IBM and start my company TaskRabbit that I really felt like I had found the thing that I was born to do. So when I was looking for colleges, I actually wanted to major in dance. I danced ballet for 25 years. I was really, really into it. I thought I wanted to be a professional dancer, and I applied to schools based on their dance program. I ended up at Sweetbriar College in Virginia, which is a small women's college on the East Coast. And when I got there, I started the dance program, but then I also fell in love with math and then computer science. And so by the end of my 4 years at Sweetbriar, I ended up swapping my majors, and I majored in math and computer science, and then I did a minor in dance. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur, but entrepreneurship definitely has exposed me to some incredible opportunities. Everything from being able to speak globally around the world. I've been able to give lectures at Oxford in England and speak at Davos in Switzerland and meet world leaders and have influence really on things that are changing the world and things that are making an impact. So I think that's been the most exciting thing that I've been exposed to as an entrepreneur. What inspired me to found TaskRabbit was the fact that I was out of dog food one night. And it was February of 2008. I was living in Boston at the time. It was cold and it was snowing outside. And I was out of dog food. And so I thought, there's got to be a way to get this dog food. There's probably someone at the store at this very second, and I should be able to use this iPhone to connect with them. The iPhone had just come out 4 months earlier, so it was very new technology. But as an engineer, I got really excited about these emerging technologies, and I ended up quitting my job at IBM 4 months later, and then building the first version of the TaskRabbit site. I think out of everything I've been asked to speak at or do, my favorite has been to be in New York City at this Women in the World Summit. It's a global summit of female leaders from all around the globe. We've had the president of South Africa, we had Hillary Clinton, Tina Brown from Newsweek, she's the founder of Newsweek, she's the one that started this, to do a panel with Chelsea Clinton on technology and how technology is shaping the next generation of female leaders. And I think that just being surrounded by that group of women was so inspiring, and the fact that it was global and not just the United States was really impactful to me as well. Probably my high school math teacher, Sarah Sabatini. I think I always looked up to her from the moment that I met her on the first day of school, and she just was always strong and powerful and smart, just really instilled in me this sense of self-worth and ambition and confidence. I look back and I think a lot about how she really, I think, was a great role model and inspired me. I'm not the type of person that I think looks back on anything with regret. I like to learn from whatever I'm doing. So I've never looked back and thought, oh, I wonder if I had done something differently, how things would turn out. I'm kind of more in the moment, but I think I've always looked back and I've learned a lot. I've certainly failed in certain things. In a company, there were times where I made decisions that I felt like, wow, I really learned a lot from that one. I won't do that one again. And so I think it's more of a mindset for me of just constantly learning. I think I've had a lot of mentors along the way in my career. When I started my company TaskRabbit, there was another CEO, Scott Griffith, who ran the company Zipcar, who was a real mentor to me and a real inspiration. He kind of took me under his wing, let me work out of his office for the first year we existed for free. So I got to see him as a CEO and kind of figure out how I wanted to be a CEO. So I think along the way, there's always been role models and people that have inspired me to turn into what I wanted to become. I was a bank teller. And I loved that job. It was actually one of my favorite jobs. It was at the local cooperative bank. I got to count all of the money and balance my drawer and count the money in the vault. I love numbers. I think that was actually my first exposure to, I think I really love working with math and with numbers. And so I did that for a few summers and really, really enjoyed it and really learned a lot. And then went off to college, and I think that actually helped get me into math as well. The motivation around having impact. Seeing that impact and seeing that change and being a part of the change. I embrace change. I like when things are moving and different all the time. And so I think seeing that happen all around me is what keeps me motivated and inspired. I think early in my career, I thought that I'd always be in technology, and I'm still in technology. But I think the way that I have found roles in technology have been very different. So I spent 8 years as a programmer at IBM. I spent almost a decade running my company TaskRabbit. And now the last few years, I've been running a venture capital fund that invests in early stage tech companies. And so it's definitely, I think, been an evolution, but always in technology. I think that's the common thread, and that has been my passion. Had a lot of support from friends and family over the years in starting my company, in scaling the company, and selling the company. I've made new friends that, are founders, investors, entrepreneurs that kind of understand, what I've built and what I've been through. And I think the key is just being able to connect with people deeply on what you're doing and what you're building, and have them support you and have them respect you. I'm really fortunate to have a lot of people in my life that way. Right now, I'm running a venture capital fund called Fuel Capital, invests in early stage tech companies. It's a $75 million fund, and we usually get involved as the first money into some of these companies. So it could be 2 founders and an idea or a little bit of a product, and they're just getting it launched, and we help them kind of take it to the next level. Just knowing that I can have an impact. So thinking about what are the things that I want to see change, and how can I change them, and then making these incremental steps to kind of move the ball forward. And when I see change happening, that's very motivating to me. We'll see. Right now I'm really focused on finding great entrepreneurs to work with as part of Fuel. That has been so much fun. Basically all day, every day, I just get to meet interesting people and hear about their interesting ideas, and then figure out if there's a way that we can support them. Nope, I wouldn't change a thing. Again, I think I am one of those people that likes to learn from mistakes and failures, and I feel like if you're not failing, you're probably not thinking big enough and you're not trying hard enough. And so I'd rather try and fail and learn than play it safe.